My name is Linh, and my co-host is
Edward Thomas.
Lamar.
We don't say the middle part.
Today, we're talking about our special topic, which is
Shaming.
who doesn't like a nice shaming?
I pay tickets so I can go to see a good shaming. We bring like a picnic basket, like, oh, they're going to shame like 3 people today. We're like, oh, yes. Bring the kids so they learn how to shame. So it's...
If you guys listen to our last podcast about humor, yes.
Yes, you know that we have problems. And the drugs that Lynn manufactures at her job, at her school, don't help.
Well, they help a lot. They just...
I know. You don't give me any. I want a bag full. It's like trick or treat. Oh, I'll take some of that. I'll take some. Yeah,
so we were talking, or in preparation of this episode, we were talking about the different kinds of shaming.
Yes.
And to be clear, it's shaming, not shaving.
Well, shaving could be shaming depending upon, like, so if you know a girl and she's got a thick mustache, telling her to go shave is a form of shame.
Is it though? In today's society, maybe. Before it was supposed to be like grooming yourself, wasn't it?
What? To grow a mustache?
No, to not grow a mustache at the moment. As a woman, to avoid growing a mustache.
It's like, so. And you're like rubbing your own mustache. You're like, so. How long have you been cultivating your forest?
Oh, you call it forest also. I don't know. I don't know if it's social media, but I feel like there's more shaming nowadays than before. And before, shaming used to be more severe. Like, oh, you should feel ashamed of yourself or something like that.
Really? I've never had that experience.
And nowadays, I feel like people don't say things like you should be ashamed of yourself, but rather they would like insult you directly.
Well, so today I was on Facebook, like for a couple of minutes. And this guy who I don't even talk to that much anymore, I was saying how I was really happy about the new president, and he's like, aha, so you're happy that you elected a pedophile. And I was like, you know what? If you don't have any facts to back that up, then he, like, every time someone like told him to check his facts, he's like, you don't have to be so rude, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
that's not rude, dude.
I'm like, dude, you're about to show off that you're like all up into that weird stuff. If you take out your Confederate flag, then we'll know, and so, but he felt like people were being, and it was kind of like it was just on that borderline when someone says, well, maybe you haven't gone to school yet.
Ooh.
So that it's, yeah. But I think there's a special, so there's a shaming that wives do.
What, again? A shaming
that wives do.
So
like you shame Jonas. Annette shames me.
I tried to shame him, but Jonas said, I asked him, like, don't you have any shame? And he's like, no, why would I?
Exactly. He's like so immune. I'm like, man, I want some of that. I want to drink whatever he's taking. I want some of that.
Oh, it's impossible. You can't even shame him.
I know. We'll find a way. We'll help you. We'll bring balance back to the force. But and then there's shaming that moms shame, wives shame. Of course, they're both. Moms and women have something in common.
Are you sure?
Yes. Mamas and wives. I don't know what that common factor is. Oh well.
Biology?
It might be biology. But they shame. Teachers shame.
Parents shame each other. Or not parents. Mothers shame each other. Like other mothers. Look at that mother. She's a bad mother.
See, mothers are just like, they're all into the shaming thing. It's probably like
there's even
book of
this
shame.
Movie, Bad Moms,
Yeah, that's really funny.
There's Bad Moms and Bad Moms 2, and I love them because it's all...
It's all about shaming.
It's all about
mothers shaming
how
mothers.
to not fall into line because you're being shamed. Because they have this... they think that every mom tries their best, does their best for their abilities.
I mean, Lynn, like if you were a really good mother, you would have a tie here. And you would be feeding him not just from your breast, from any of the other breasts that you could find,
From yours?
From mine too. Even if you may only get like a teaspoon, but it's still milk. It's like
it's chocolate milk.
It might be. Have you tasted it?
No.
We don't have that kind of relationship.
What's wrong with you?
Just want to know. I was going to say, well, what percentage?
I want to shame you.
What percent chocolate is it? I was like,
but you know,
66%.
I shamed the little kid, my Jonas' niece,
Yeah.
because those two kids, they were just crazy running around, and they broke a door in his parents' house.
Wow.
Well, for their defense, the door was kind of shabby before, but with them being all kiddie and just doing too much and closing and opening and doing crazy things, it broke for real.
Wow.
And I was really angry because I think like, hello, those kids are like, of course they're kids, they're 8 and 7, but you should think about like playing with doors and opening and throwing them. It's not doing good. And then I said, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, wow.
Like I told both of the kids and totally different reactions. One kid was like totally like oblivious. Like la 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 la, she was playing like, oh, everything's fine. Nah, nah, nah. And the other one was going to her bed and crying.
Wow.
So I'm like, well, you can have different reactions to shaming.
I don't want to be shamed by you. Obviously. 50-50 chance of just like ruining my life, you know. So.
No, but I think, but shaming is a tool also. I think I listened to a podcast here in Sweden with a children's psychologist, and she's also a midwife. Yeah. And she has a long life with kids and working and profession and so on. And she said that actually shaming or shame is a really important emotion.
Really?
For humans to have, because that means that you are out of line in the social construct. But nowadays, shaming becomes really strange because it's more like arbitrary what people are shaming for.
Huh. I wonder if you can get a ticket for shaming without a proper cause. Like the police would show up and say, sorry, you shamed that person, but that wasn't a real cause for shaming.
Isn't that like the extreme is lynching?
Okay, well, I don't know if I want to go that far.
Well,
lynching is like hanging people from a tree until they die.
Yeah, but
a ticket is just
no. But I mean, that would be like the extreme of shaming and giving a punishment like that.
Because lynching is usually done because you hate the person.
Well, like, shaming. Why would you shame someone else if you wouldn't dislike them? I think nowadays shaming is maybe more personal, because I feel before in the old days, values were more like how would you say stable or manifested in the society, because it wasn't as heterogeneous, it was more homogeneous. Everyone knew, like, for example, you would not disrespect your mom or your dad
or anyone else's mom or dad either.
Yeah, like adults in general,
because they would all smack you.
So. And if you would do that, maybe some old lady would tell you to be ashamed. You should be ashamed of yourself.
She would smack you too.
Yeah. Go to the corner and
Aha, really?
No, but I think like before it used to be like, but nowadays people were like, no, why would it be like Jonas? Why would I be ashamed for? There's nothing I need to be ashamed for. Yeah,
because that's you don't feel like you have an accountability.
Yeah.
So shaming and accountability. So like, if you promise when you're kids that you're going to be at their play, but then something happens and you really couldn't get there, you're going to feel shame. And especially if they say, I thought you were going to be there.
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah, and you're just like, and then you feel like a really bad person. And you're like, okay, fine, I'll give you $1,000.
I buy you ice cream.
Exactly, with my $1,000. No. And so I think that's one of the things is that kind of, shaming where you almost put the shame on yourself because you know that you messed up. And then you have like what you're talking about, like when moms shame each other, then that's more like done in like a public shaming kind of thing, and it's done so that they will feel better about themselves. So
the people who are shaming would feel better about themselves. Did you just say that?
Yeah, that's what I say. Exactly.
I mean, public. I need to shame my classmates. Those are the questions they are asking in class.
Really?
So a teacher just said something, and they're like, so did you just say this and this?
I hate that when that happens. Oh, my God.
And I'm like,
I just want to go over there and slap somebody. It was like, how stupid are you?
It's different.
I mean,
shaming. It's different when you say, like, I didn't hear. Yeah. I didn't hear you, which I just I just didn't hear you. That's why I'm asking you again.
That's why you repeated what I said. Okay.
I just want to check if it was the same. Yeah, but public shaming, I think. So why I was so interested in this is because my friend in Germany, she is friends with one more friend of hers, and that lady, she has a little kid, and she said that, oh, I think those moms who give their kids to daycare before they're 3 years old, they're horrible, they're bad mothers. And I was telling my friend then, like, whoa, that lady is quite judgmental, you know. And I think that, I don't know, this public shaming or mom shaming is so horrible because people are kind of competing.
Yeah.
Like, which one is the better one? And if you're bad, and you're a bad mom.
Wow.
And I think being a mom, and I've been attacked as a mom, like someone told me I was a bad mom.
You want me? I can beat them up for you if you want. I can shoot them.
And it felt really bad. I was thinking,
Really?
like, this is because this is one thing that you want to get right. Like, when you're a mom, that's the only thing. Like, I can suck at my job. I can suck at being a friend. But I don't want to suck at being a mom. At least that's where my standard is.
Interesting.
What about you?
Mom, because I'm trying to think that when guys get together, if they ever get together, and if they ever talk, do they ever shame each other? I remember being in a situation where guys were like, you know, I think that you're a really bad dad. Look at the way you're taking care of your kids. Like,
no, I don't think men are so judgmental in that sense.
No, but I mean, you could feel bad because, you know, there's always like, so the guy who's always buying his wife gifts because he's a suck up, and then it makes you feel bad.
Because he's a suck up. He's a good husband.
No, see, that's the thing. Women think that men who act as their slaves are good husbands because they're suck ups.
They're considerate husbands.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're not. They're just doing that to make the men feel bad. It's like, I don't like you people, so I'm going to make you feel bad.
Oh, really? So it's not even about the wife.
No.
It's about their peers.
Exactly. No,
Wow.
but I think it's so I think that's and I think there is more pressure on women. Mm-hmm. So because you're expected to go out and work, you know, be all
Give your
successful in the world,
kids,
and
look
you still have to be
good.
like a good mom and stuff like that.
Look good, being a good
Oh, yeah, I guess
wife.
you have to look good too. Okay, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
we are
so-
not only, we have to be colleagues or bosses, we have to
Ooh.
be moms, and we have to be wives, and we have to be daughters. And all of them, we have to be
Wow.
perfect, look good, smell good, talk good, always
Wow.
be in a good spirit, never be depressed, always be there for everyone.
Really? No wonder women shame everyone. It's just too much.
Feel bad.
It's just too much pressure. It's like I gotta shame somebody right now because I
'Cause I
feel
can't
so
take
bad
it.
about myself. You know, I'm bad at everything. Let me shame somebody, and maybe shaming them makes, you know, it takes, like, the more people you shame,
The
then
better you feel about
then the less
yourself.
shame you have about yourself. So yeah, it's a benefit, win-win.
Do you think that shaming and consequences of your decisions are somehow intertwined or
Oh yeah,
connected?
oh yeah. I
Give
mean,
me an example.
so
Why are you always laughing?
because everything I think about is funny. No, so I'm walking down the street here in Uppsala, and this person's like, "Oh, you want to give money to the Red Cross?" I'm like, "Nah, not really."
Okay.
He's like, "But really? So you don't want to help people who are starving?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Now they're going the shame route.
I'm like, "Here we go. I feel bad already. I'm an evil person." And you don't. And they just give me a whole list. I'm like, "Give me the paper. How much of my blood do you want? I just take it all. I don't need it." You know, or like. So sometimes young people that you know, since I work with youth and everything, they become adults, and sometimes their first jobs are these kind of jobs where, you know, they either call you or solicit you for something, and there's like, no one's got anything all day long. Can't you just help me out?
They're doing the pity route, like,
It's like,
have pity on me.
I'm like, where is the fire from heaven when I need it? You know, consume this person. Okay, and so it's those kind of, and I'm really susceptible to.
Yeah, you look like a sucker.
Yeah, I know. It's like a big sign on my head or something. When I walk into a situation, it just starts
You're like my
glowing.
brother. My
It's
brother's
like-
also always ending up in this situation. And then the thing is, though, he comes home and he gets angry. Or like annoyed about himself, like, oh, why did I do this? And that's not what I really wanted, no. And I've met several people who are like that, who like give in the situation, then they go back, and they're like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I didn't want to do this.
If you push me hard enough, I'll give in to anything.
Woo, good to know that.
I don't know. It's like, come and make dinner. Okay, fine.
Well, I tried to get you here when my mom was here. You never came.
Oh, wow. Talk about shaming. Yes, I know, Lynn. I'm not a good friend. I'm sorry, okay? I hate myself already. No, but I think that
so shaming.
I mean, we're joking about shaming and stuff like that. And that's kind of funny because shaming is often used in comedy and things like that. Like you always talk about like when you were a kid and you're growing up and then your mom was come in and she's like, oh, can you do the dishes? And you're like, no, do I have to? She's like, after I gave birth to you out in the desert, wolves were about to eat you, but I let them eat me first. That's why I look like this. You can't wash the dishes for me? Lady, I'll make the dishes for you. I'll put them in the oven and fire it up. And every day I'll make dishes. Just stop it. Don't give me any more.
My mom was never like that. She's like, you go do the dishes. And then she would wake me up in the middle of the night if I told her I'm doing it in the evening and I didn't. Either by mistake or willingly leaving it. And then she would maybe go out to go to the bathroom and then she's like, Ed, dishes are still not done. In the middle of the night. Yes, Mom.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't have a dishwasher growing up.
No, neither did we. Oh, we did. His name was Edward. He was very effective.
Wow.
Oh, now my mom used. I love you, Mom, but you did use a lot of guilt. My mom can guilt the dead back to life. Okay, she's just like, oh my gosh, it's just like there are some doozies in there.
I'm still working that, like how to shame my kids. I don't know, how do you shame them?
I don't shame my kids because I just figure like
I don't know how to.
I'm such a wonderful dad. You should do what I say just because I'm wonderful. No, I think that
do you mean it has to come naturally?
Yeah, you have to be born with a gift. No, but I think that so like shaming from one day some of the kids, they came to the church and they had brought a bottle of alcohol and I took the alcohol from them. And I remember that one of the girls, she stood up, she says, we come to this church and we thought that you were like on the side of young people. I thought you were better than those other ones. I was so tempted to get the bottle of alcohol and distill it myself from my own blood, and give it to her. And I went in my room and I cried. I was like,
did you?
I'm like,
wow.
What if this is true? What if I'm really bad and all the young people hate me? And like I had to cry it out because it hit me like a hammer. Oh my gosh.
Wow. But was that a long time ago? Because
yeah, it was before I met you.
Yeah, because now
you became a part of my life.
Now I've all hardened you. I mean,
I know you've made me evil.
I made you more blunt.
I'm like, come with your shame. Come with your guilt. Come with your accusations.
When Ed comes and cries on my shoulder, I just slap him like, suck it up.
Sissy, I'm like, okay, I'll try harder then. No, but I mean, I guess I struggle with shame. Or feelings of shame and stuff like that.
Feelings of shame.
Yeah, not embarrassment, but just shame when people just like, and there's certain things like you can't shame me about anymore. So if I have a big butt, and so if you say something
body
about
shaming,
like body shame, I'm just like, I don't care.
You have body shaming, and then a subgroup is fat shaming.
Okay, well that one might be a little sensitive too. Don't know why those extra 20 kilos, but we're not talking about those.
But I mean, I know that there was a big discussion I see sometimes on TV, like the fat shaming thing, that people like, oh, just because I'm a plus size or bigger size. But I think it has a medical side to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like if you are too fat, like you and me, then there are health risks to this. And it's not about like shaming for aesthetical reasons or shaming arbitrarily. It's more about like health.
See, and that makes me say something really strange like, so, how fat is too fat?
Well, you can check your BMI.
No, that's not funny.
You can do a body fat composition.
Really?
Thingy.
How do you figure that out?
Well, you can go to a pharmacy that has this kind of scale, and then they can tell you that you have 50% fat, which is really bad.
What kind of scale is that? Like,
No, I can calculate that.
Ow, you're hurting my buttons here. I think you must be at least 60%. You're like butter. Butter's 80. You're almost there.
I think shaming. Shaming? I think leads to can lead to bad mental health.
Oh yeah, I mean if you're, I think when people are shamed about personal things, so
like
maybe so I had a friend and she had like really really large breasts. I mean like 2 elephants on her chest, but she was really kind of tiny, so they looked even bigger and stuff like that. But people would always make comments, but first they would stare. They were like, "Oh my gosh, are those real?" And so she became really self-conscious about it, and it really like followed her for a long time. And so those kind of things where people are shamed for things that they have no control over.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes like mean-spirited, I think, as opposed to just trying to manipulate you to do stuff.
Well, I think when I grew up, and sometimes it can still hit me, I would be ashamed for where my background.
Really?
Like in Germany, being a second generation immigrant, my parents being like working class, not speaking well German. Like I would back then feel really ashamed of it because people would maybe meet me and then they would maybe see me in a certain light, and then they would know about my background, and I would be ashamed that I wouldn't, or my background, or I were concerned that my background would reflect on me and people would think less of me. And that's also something I think that it's not in my control. I can't make my parents to be academics.
Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, I grew up poor, but I went to, because I was in more advanced classes, a lot of people had a lot more money than we did. And I hated being the poor kid. I hated never having anything that was modern, only worn out things that people had put, someone else's butt had been in before mine. It's like, oh.
If you put it that way.
And then sometimes like being, because often I'm the only African American in a lot of situations, like in our community.
With Timmy.
He's not African American. He's just
African.
I know. He's like the real deal.
African American.
I'm all
anything else?
worn out, but and so sometimes it was really hard because you feel like you're carrying your whole people group with you. And you don't want people to think anything bad about other black people, so you have to like deal with all this stuff, and it was like really horrible. I don't know if you ever felt like that, like you feel like you represent all the Vietnamese people in the world, and so.
I'm sorry, but I do well for myself, so that's fine.
Okay, sorry. I mean, when we were growing up, my grandmother would always say, change your underwear, because you might get hit by a car, and you don't want. And you don't want to be embarrassing us in front of the white people. It's like,
because that's the most concerning thing when being in an accident.
I'm like, will you get hurt? Because that's what I want to say, something funny, but she's my grandmother and I don't want to get hit, so I can't say something like, what, is that like what white people do? Like when black people get hurt, like, look at their underwear. You're not going to put them in the ambulance with dirty underwear. Better be clean. No streaks in there. And so they were, but it was really hard because, and especially like if there's sort of a perception of how you are supposed to be, and you don't fit that perception, and then people shame you for that, that could leave. I mean, those are the kind of things that leave emotional scars on you. Or, I mean, I used to be really self-conscious of my big butt because I hung out in Chinatown. And Asians have no booties. It's all
tiny
flat.
butts.
Tiny. It's all flat. There's no booty. It's like you put your hand, there's a whoop, it drops down to the ground. And me, they could put like a tablecloth over there and serve like 20 people. And it was like everyone would always say, "Man, you got such a big butt," and it would make me really conscious. That's probably where I got into talking about butts all the time, because people would always make comments about my big African booty.
But now no one does. I've never heard this in our church.
I can tell when I'm walking to the altar and I have my back, I'm like, they're just staring at my booty. Like I can feel that in my head. I'm like, they're just looking at my African booty.
I look at your head.
No, you
at
don't.
your hair because I like the hair. Oh my gosh.
So it's, but I think that, I mean, the best remedy is actually to not take the shaming thing so seriously. You know. Oh, hey, look, it's Ringy.
It's Bolin.
Oh, my favorite guy from China.
What about Gang?
No, oh, sorry, okay, I like Gong too. Okay, I like a lot of people from China.
Yeah, I
really
just wanted to sort this out. French shaming.
Yes.
I think
he's still my friend. I still love him.
I think nowadays I'm not as susceptible to shaming.
Yeah.
But I wonder how it will be when living in Germany because there the society is more competitive and less humorous.
Yes.
Like last episode we talked about, and I don't know how that would turn out, but I'm positive.
I mean, do you ever feel like? I mean, here I don't make as much money as I have in the States, and one of my friends are like real go-getters and stuff like that. So sometimes I feel like I do feel ashamed because. You know, like my friend, like one of my friends, she's like a buyer for this really big store. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. My other friends like doctors and stuff. I'm like, wow. And they're like, what are you doing? I work as a priest in the Church of Sweden. Aha, does that pay well? No. And you don't have a car? No. I have a motorcycle, but you don't have a car?
Yeah, it's always a question, Ed. Why don't you have a car?
And there's like this whole list of things. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, wow. Sometimes I feel like such a failure, and it's not because they're trying to shame me, but there's
just the questions.
There's an undertone of like,
shouldn't you?
Yeah,
like this, or
like
shouldn't
the reason
you
we're asking you is
that?
because we want you to be aware of what you should have and what you don't have.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Wow. Well.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think that as we said. Don't let the shame consume you.
No. Yeah. Too much shame is actually bad for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's why there's a mental health crisis in most countries.
Is it caused by shame?
But the funny thing is though, like in my parents' home country in Vietnam, shaming is like part of the culture.
Really?
Yeah, it's like for example, when I'm growing up, people would always ask me or tell me like, "Oh, you got fat," or "You got skinny. Did you lose weight?" Like it would always be about that. It would be yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, this is the culture of shaming, but I haven't heard about the statistics that says Vietnamese people are more depressed than white people.
No, because white people do all the shaming to everyone else. Whoa! I never said that.
There was white shaming.
I never said that. No, but I think that. But I think every culture has its shaming subjects. Mm-hmm.
Like in Sweden, if you don't recycle or you separate your trash, woo!
Exactly.
You are a bad person.
Or you don't follow all the rules exactly to the letter.
Then you are a bad person.
Yeah, because people are like.
Why are you laughing?
Because I'm thinking about all the weird situations where people shame me in Sweden for just silly things. So okay, this is Corona time, and this lady was standing like 1,000, meters away from the milk. I look around, I don't see anyone else there. Some lady gets her milk, she leaves there. So I'm like, okay, no one's there. So I walk over to the milk, get a liter of milk. And this older lady, I think she's older. She could be as old as I am, but it's hard to tell because
Another lady, then.
Another lady. There's always these ladies shaming me, and she's like, I was waiting in line. Didn't you see me? I'm like, what line? Where is the sign? I'm like, listen, I looked around. You didn't do anything. You were just standing there. I'm like, oh, what is she looking at? And so I decided I just came over to get some milk. It's not like I'm standing here in front of the door for like 20 minutes going, I'm so sweaty. I think I'll just cool down a little bit with the breeze, And so, but she was like really upset. And I was like, and then I just lost it. I just turned around.
Really?
Like, you know what? Excuse me. I know that this is Corona time and stuff like that. But if you had just said, excuse me, I'm waiting in line, I would have backed away and let you get the milk first, because that would have been decent and that would be the nice thing to do. But instead, you want to be like one of those evil, grouchy old people that everyone hates when they get older, because all you can do is bitch and moan and groan.
Whoa! Can you say it in Swedish? I just want to hear how you said it.
I'm like, ursäkta mig, men om jag såg dig, då skulle jag ha, och du har sagt någonting, hej, ursäkta mig, jag väntar dig här i en kö. Och så, jag skulle ha backat och sagt, förlåt, jag såg dig inte. Men jag såg inte att du skulle göra, för du gjorde ingenting. Du bara stod där och såg ut som en sur citron. Och du är precis den sortens människa som att när de blir gamla och bara klagar och bara bittra och alla hatar dig, för allt du kan göra är bara sitta och klaga och snacka skit om andra människor.
Did you really say that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you lost it for real.
I was like,
that's a no in Sweden. For all you people who are new in Sweden, that's a no. That's why they hate black people, because of Ed. Because he broke the holy rule never to have a public and open conflict. That was it. Open conflict.
But the other ladies came up to me and they're like, vi är så glada att du har sagt det. För hon var riktigt sur. Hon var definitivt orättvis mot dig.
Wow.
So I'm like, that's right. Points for justice. Righteousness.
Wow.
The Superman
way.
You
get... Whoa, after that, I would be like, drama right there in the milk aisle.
But it's just like when I'm trying to get off the bus and people try to crowd on the bus and I'm like, ursäkta mig. Tycker du att jag vill dö av din corona? Backa, idiot.
Wow. And
so I can say these things in Swedish because they don't sound as nice in English. They sound horrible.
But it's like in the Swedish context, the things that Ed is saying, they're like really rude, like big time rude.
They're not moving out of the way when I get off the bus. They're crowding in, and I'm like.
But in Sweden, you would just be like angry, bitter, and then when you off the bus where no one can hear you, were like, "Oh, that's idiot."
Exactly. And I decided, because this is one day we should have a podcast about civil courage. Well, I don't think it's called civil courage.
Civil courage is more when you
civil courage is what it's called in Swedish, but it's when you're standing up
for the things that are right.
And people in this age where we're supposed to have social distancing, and they try to crowd into the bus, like they think the bus driver's like, I just saw two people get the bus, I'm going to drive away. They can wait for the people to get off the bus, make sure they're not crowding. Mm-hmm. I'm like, because that's it just bothers me. Or when I see young people and they like crowd, like here's this old person with their like roller thing, and they're trying to get on the bus. Yeah, but I don't know what it's called in English.
Walking. Something.
Yeah, walker.
A walker.
I need you to help me.
I know your mother tongue even better than you do.
That's really sad. Like you speak 4 languages, I'm like, man, how do you say this? And when I see young people like crowding old people, I'll tell them off. I'm like, what?
Get lost.
I'm like, your mother didn't raise you better?
Woo!
How stupid are you? Let the old person get on the bus.
Wow.
You can sit, you can stand. They can't. And the old lady's like, thank you very much, young man.
But that's how I grew up with. Like, if you wouldn't move, like when we were going to the bus, and we would move, some elderly, some older person would be like, get up.
They would just hit us when I was a kid.
And we moved away from the physical punishment to the verbal punishment.
No, but like back home in the States, if there's an older person on the bus, and you're sitting there, people will tell. They're like, "Excuse me, what is your problem?
Woo!
Stand up. You better show some respect."
Woo!
Yes, forgot. I'm sorry. I'm in the Swedish mentality. We don't show respect. So I think that it's and in that way that's that kind of shaming that makes you stand up and do the right thing you're supposed to do, and that's a good kind of shaming. So I thought I just want to
you just wanted to
I just bring us back. Close the sack.
Knyta ihop säcken. It's a Swedish expression.
I want to choke the sack close.
It's a Swedish idiom. How do you say that in English?
Choke the sack close.
No, it's an idiom.
No, you just want to say like what? I want to bring things back to the beginning, or get us back on track.
There must be a better one. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Oh no, I don't know. We don't really. It's not really expression.
Americans never end things.
No,
they only start them.
We start them and then we walk away.
Thank you guys for listening, and don't be ashamed to share this podcast.
Yes, you should be. If you do not share this podcast with at least 20 other people, I tell you bad things going to happen to you, and you deserve them.
There is big shaming going on. From my side, you don't need to be ashamed, but don't be disrespectful.
No.
And share this podcast with everyone you know and spread the message. And we are grateful for you guys listening. And
yes, we are.
Yeah.
You make our life. We live
Fika
for you.
For life.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to us once again. And we hope that this has been a blessing to you. Let us know. Get back feedback. Tell us something else that you want us to talk about, because we're always open for everything.
Woo.
We haven't said no yet to anything, so
True.
yeah, one day I guess, but not yet. So keep writing to us and take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening. If you have any comments or ideas, please send us a message to fikaforlife@mail.com. Fika, F-I-K-A. This was the Fika for Life podcast with Linh Nguyen and Edward Thomas, and we hope to hear you again.